What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Red G Fox. And today on Fun Fact Friday, I just put up a poll recently and I gotta talk about him, and that is the great, memorable, but small time Sanford & Son character actor, Barry Wright. Now, it just happened to be that Barry Wright is incredibly hard to find information on. I've heard rumors. You can see, I'm going to have a small list of things he did outside of Sanford & Son from what I can look up. But I don't know, honestly, I couldn't even find if he's still alive. I couldn't find his birth, his death. When you go on from his TV shows to everything, it never lists any kind of information like that. And I've been looking all over the internet for the last week trying to find details on him. And I only could find a few things. And a few of them even puzzled me. Like, could he be doing that? So let's get to it right away. Now, before you say, who is Barry Wright? I showed a picture at the very beginning. You should recognize him if you are a diehard. If you're just a casual fan, you might go, hey, I think I've seen him in one episode. No. You've seen him in 4 episodes of Sanford & Son. His biggest and most memorable role had to be in the episode called Golden Boy. And that is one where Fred gets together with his buddy and who is now into boxing promotion. He's one of those quick rich guys, kind of like Fred, and he has all these things, and now he's a fighting promoter, and he has Junior Joe Louis because he fights like Joe Louis, and he's a boxer on there, and he has minimal dialogue. A lot of it is just repeating, hey, let's go work out. All right, work out. And the biggest thing is eat. Let's eat. He wants to eat, and he's very comical in that one. I like him a lot in there, and the best scene in that one with him is when Fred, he sucker punches Lamont, and then Fred goes in there and as he's trying to, he's ready to, and we'll get to that one day on episode breakdown in over a year from now. But he gets there and he's like, look, a glazed donut, and Fred knocks him out and he takes a dive. So that was probably his biggest breakthrough role when it comes to Sanford & Son. People have said, well, I'll get to that afterwards, but let's get to the next one. The next time we saw him was in Earthquake 2, and that one is a very minimal part where he's just doesn't even have a name other than Jackpot winner. And on that, Fred puts in a coin, one of his last ones, and it finally strikes and he wins the jackpot. And as he's there, Barry's right there and he's kind of standing in front of it like he's playing it, and Fred's all celebrating. He's looking, and the guy's like, looks at him like, hey, I was playing, this is mine. And because he went to put the coin in, and Fred's like, oh, yeah, you win. He doesn't really get much dialogue in that one. If anything, I don't even think he says anything. That was another one, yes, he's another, even if he doesn't speak, he's still in there, and he has such a distinct look to me. Now, we have had other people comment on here who actually said, hey, I didn't even know that he played multiple characters, and that's the point of our channel. That's the point of it, is to 1, speak Sanford & Son, 2, bust out trivia and fun facts, and 3, teach you maybe something you didn't know, and 4, in a community, share our thoughts, our memories, our fondest memories of watching Sanford & Son, where we were, the impact it had on our lives. And so when I hear things like that, that really excites me. That makes me go, hey, that's one of the 4 main goals of this channel, is to teach. And so, yes, Barry Wright was the one in that. Now, Barry Wright, I called him Barry White. Barry Wright, and the next time we saw him was probably my favorite time. Like I love Golden Boy. I love the one where he's boxing and stuff, and he does a great job in it. But my favorite one is in the one where Fred gets an extra job and he becomes kind of a busboy at a fancy restaurant, and he totally lies about it, says he used to work in Paris, Paris, and he could do all this nonsense. Well, the chef in there, whenever the owners kind of threaten Fred, he calls out, Bruno, and he calls him out there, and then Bruno comes out, and he's the stopper. Remember, Fred's like, who's gonna stop me? And he's like, Bruno, he's all, Fred, meet the stopper. And then Bruno comes out, and he's this big guy, and he's like punching his hands. He's like, what? And he's basically the cook and the bouncer of the place. And Fred gets intimidated, but then later on, Fred's like, had enough. And Bruno comes out again, and he's got the cleaver. And I love that part, because if you pay attention, originally he comes out and he's punching his own hand. This time he comes out with the cleaver, and he hits his own hand with the cleaver, and he shakes his hand. He actually plays like, that hurt, which I love, because it's just a small scene that sometimes, if you're not focusing, you miss it. When you've seen it 20 times, you catch those after a while. And I love that part when he comes out and he shakes his hand with the cleaver, and then he's like, what now? And he gets irritated. That's a very minimal part, but it's still memorable. I love the chef's hat and the getup he has. Probably one of the biggest chefs we've seen. And That was his third time in show history. Then the fourth one, which is, I've had some people comment in the poll too that they really like this one, and that was when he comes out as Herman Barry, and we see Fred. That's when it's the very last episode ever, so it's ironic that he's in the very last episode, and he's trying to better himself, or Fred's trying to graduate high school with Bubba, and they're distracting him, and then he gets up and he's like, hey man, why don't you shut your face? He's like, I'm trying to better myself, and he's trying to get an education and graduate as well. He does, and then even when he graduates and they're calling each person up and they say, Herman Barry, and he comes up, and I like that they use his actual name, Barry, as his last name. So Herman Barry, he graduates, and Fred's like, how'd that fool get one? How did he graduate? So he got a little dig on him, but that's his last role in Sanford and Son. So those are the 4 times he appeared. Very memorable, short time, but memorable characters. Now, as we get to other things he did, I will talk one more thing. This says in 2014. Now, when you look this up, because there's a bunch of Barry Wrights. There's a bunch of Barry Wrights from other things, and there's another actor who's not even the same nationality or same complexion. It's not him, and you can see for the age he was like only 22. But the one that says Sanford and Son and listed all the things he did, it said in 2014. So that means he was obviously still alive in 2014. He was the producer of the thing called Two Guys, One Truck. Now, he helped produce Two Guys, One Truck, 9 episodes in that series. And if you're looking at it and you go, just do the math, you're like, okay, so how old do you think he was in Sanford and Son? 75. In 1975. Let's say he was 25. That's still pretty young. He looks young, big guy. Let's say he was 25. That would put him in his early 60s, 59 to 60 in 2014. He could be, right. He's not acting anymore. He could be producing for that. So I could see that, but that's kind of a weird time to have such a huge gap to where you don't do anything for all these years. It's not like if you look up his history, he was producing multiple shows. He does not have a long list. So to just kind of fade away and then say, hey, you know what? I think I'll produce at 60 years old. I don't know. It's kind of, that's why I'm like, to dig information on him was hard. And before you say, well, why are you doing this episode? Because we're going to do everything on Sanford and Son, even the smallest to the biggest. The fun fact might only be a 10-minute episode. Next week's might be 20-minute episode because it's on a bigger thing. Now, back to this. So it says he produced. I'm just going by what I read. We'll see. If you know anything on it, please definitely comment. It said in 2007, he worked in the sound department for a TV special called A Tribute to Les Paul. So a tribute, it was a TV show special, a tribute to Les Paul. He worked in the sound department with that. That's what it says, and it's all under his same thing, Sanford and Son, all that. So I got to go with that. That's just another thing where you go 2007, and then a huge gap in 2014, and then a huge gap from 1981. And now when you go 81, Sanford and Son was over in 77, 76, 77. How would you get to 81? He came back again in Sanford, and I like to think, just a funny part, he was a bailiff in the episode where season 2 of the show Sanford, where Cal and Fred are getting robbed by a kid, and they catch him, and they take the kid to juvenile court, and the bailiff who comes in, or the sheriff deputy who works there, he comes in and takes Fred and Cal inside, and Fred makes a comment to him. That is Barry Wright playing a different character. And I always like to think and go, hey, looks like, let's just say it is Herman Barry. He did better himself. He graduated high school and then went on to become a sheriff deputy. You know, it looks the same. He's got a fro, as you can see in the picture. But he came back. And so, you know, they had a connection. That is one cool thing with Red Fox, is he would bring in friends or people or acquaintances. The TV stations didn't do that. The fact that it's a different TV station and that he brought him back and he said, hey, I got a part for you. He always was looking out for his friends, as we mentioned in the previous fun fact about Red Fox. But that's it. He did make one more last appearance, and that's from nothing. If you look him up, nothing from 81 till 2007. So I don't know if that's the exact same Barry Wright. I got to go with the IMDb, who said it was, and everything else I looked on every other website said that he did these things. So he must have been part of it somehow. If he is, cool. If not, if you know any information or have anything, please comment below. Last bit, I have heard this online, but could not verify it. And I've heard other people even say on our channel that they heard Barry Wright used to be a personal bodyguard for Red Fox, and that's possibly how he got him in the shows. So I would take that. I would believe that. I could so see that. It's someone who you'd be close with, someone who had to watch Red Fox back, and then you say, hey, let me get you on the show. You never know. Maybe it could lead to something big for him, get you some limelight and attention. So, Barry Wright, list below what's your favorite on the poll right now. Winning big time, as it should, is Junior Joe Louis, the biggest role he ever had in series history. I can't vote, but if I did, I like them all. I do like Herman Barry. I like his character in that, even though it's minimal. He's funny in that. My favorite is just seeing him come out in the chef with the cleaver, threatening Fred in the episode where he is Bruno. And I like that where he's all, Bruno, and then he comes charging out this big guy. So that's my thoughts on it. Please list your thoughts. Give a like. Give a subscribe. So Red G Fox, the G stands for Golden Gloves, and that is brought to you by Edwin Brown. He's the one who suggested it when we were talking about Barry Wright from Junior Joe Louis when the boxing Golden Gloves. So thanks a lot, Edwin. Thanks a lot, everyone else who's watching. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and look for more Sanford Sun coming up Tuesday as we are breaking down one of my favorite episodes. I was excited for it. Coffins for Sale in season 1. Talk to you guys later. Peace. See you, Red.